a huge welcome to all of you from Janice and I as we introduce Pam Gregory, our dear friend Pam, to our Epiphany Talks with Zach. And I'm sure that Pam will tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. So without further ado, I'm just going to say, Pam, we are so thrilled to be chatting with you and to listen in to all of the questions that you have for Zach today, because we just love how you share all the astrological knowledge with the world, and also how Zach is so complimentary about the astrologers of the time, and just how that with your deciphering of everything that's gone on in the past, your unique ability to understand the language of the universe, that you are poised perfectly to share wisdom with us to help us for the future, help us navigate the future in the most perfect way.
Oh, bless you, Hazel. Thank you so much. It's always a joy to be with you, Hazel and Janet. Absolute joy. So we're good friends, and I have been following Zach's channelings for some years now. In fact, that's how I met Janet and Hazel. They are both, or have been in the past life regressionists and trainers of that modality. And Janet has been a natural trance channel since childhood. And in fact, Zach, she started to channel Zach in 2010, so well over 10 years ago. And in fact, it was Hazel who brought Zach through as a channel through Janet. So they're very, very embedded, let's say, that very close relationship. Zach is an aspect of the Ascended Master Dwal Kul. He lives apparently on the 26th dimension. I'm going to be asking him some questions about the deep space planets. So from every point of view, this is going to be a big picture, I hope. And I hope you're all going to enjoy it. Hazel arranges a Patreon group. That's for Janet to bring through Zach, and you can enjoy his channelings every month, his deep dives, delicious meditations every month. And you have to be a member for that, but also there's some free material on the Patreon site, and all of the blurb will be underneath, certainly for people on my channel. There's also a whole back catalogue on that Patreon channel, so you can go back through all Zach's deep dives, chats, meditations, etc. It's really rich and profound wisdom. That's why I absolutely love Zach. He always puts a very big picture on everything.
Oh, thank you, Pam. Thank you, Pam. Janet, it's probably a good time for you to explain a little bit more about what you do with your channeling and Zach.
So I'm an out-of-body channel. This means that I completely get out of the way. I move my consciousness as much as it's possible to do. I have a beautiful energetic meadow that I go to, and I literally hand over. I've had this working relationship, as Pam said, for over 10 years with Zach. Actually, when he first came through talking to Hazel, he called himself a guide for the future, and we can really see how that's playing out now. So when I get out of the way, for those of you who might not normally watch out-of-body channels, because he takes over my voice, my mannerisms, there is a distinct, completely different accent, and there might be what you will perceive as twitching, which he has actually talked about how he's maintaining his frequency through my body to be able to use it as a vehicle to be able to articulate what he's saying. And he transmits energy while he's talking as well. So in a moment, I'm going to get out of the way. It just takes me a few minutes, and I'll have my eyes shut throughout. Again, that just helps the consciousness stay removed. And it'll be really interesting because whenever he's spoken to Pam, I know he always calls her dear friend Pamela, with a lot of A's on the end. And I'm sure, well, he's been excited all day to have this talk. He loves talking to experts. This is information that I'm certainly not privy to at all. I wish I was that wise and that clever, but he knows these things. So I think you are going to be in for a real treat listening to these two, going really, really deep into all of these wonderful aspects that are fueling our evolution, as he calls it, his own little word for evolution, or the new evolution, the evolution. So I'll get out of the way. I'll leave you guys to carry on talking, and I'm sure Zach will be with you very, very shortly.
Thanks, Janet.
I've had some wonderful conversations with Zach in the past, particularly when Janet was doing one-on-ones in the past. She doesn't do those anymore, but also, frankly, the wonderful things that Zach has shared during those big events that we've had in the past, the extravaganza events. And he's really enriched my world, I have to say. And I'm sure he's enriched yours too, Hazel. Immensely.
I think Janet and I would both say the same, that because we are so deeply immersed in his guidance and his inspiration, and he delivers it in such a humorous way that it sort of sticks more easily, and it starts to become an embodied way of being, so that we can really embrace the future and learn to surf these sort of waves of change as they're coming in right now. And I know that we've been quite involved in dowsing together, Pam, and checking ourselves for the crazy numbers that have been coming up. And I know that that's one of your questions for Zach today, isn't it?
It is, because it just seems to be going off the charts, hasn't it? So, we could barely believe it. And the acceleration in that frequency increase, it's just been exponential. So yes, that's going to be one of my first questions, to see what Zach has to say about that. So that will be absolutely fascinating. And that will be, let's hope, a wonderful validation of what we're finding with the dowsing as well. That'll be a real confirmation. Yeah. So
I think that's why we're always so happy to tune in to all of your YouTube shoots and everything, because they are so inspiring, Pam. And Zach, for me, is the same, that we need to have a vision of the future that is beyond our wildest dreams almost. Here he is. So welcome, Zach. Look who we've got for you today.
It is no surprise.
Hello, Zach. It's always an absolute honor and a joy to spend time with you. And I'm deeply grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
Pleasure. You're not saying pleasure or mine. I say the pleasure of the universe.
Wonderful.
Let's get going. Where are we going today, my dear friend?
Well, firstly, I'd like to ask a couple of questions on frequency, something that all of us have been talking about a lot recently, before I get on to the deep space planets. So I think, Zach, it was in your last deep dive that you said the frequency of the Earth has never been higher, which is incredibly exciting to hear. And my sense is that there was a big acceleration in frequency from December last year, from the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. There was a further acceleration at the Libra equinox. And my sense is there's going to be another big jump again at the December solstice, the Capricorn solstice. So could you talk about that, these surges of energy, and what it means for us as humanity?
This is an important point. When something vastly exceeds what we expect it to be in a positive way, we always want to look at the gain. We want to say, hang on, where is my paradise? Where is my utopia? That is coming. Now, the importance of the frequency is it has to move through the planet. It has to be activated, as it were, for all the good stuff that everybody is looking forward to happen. Now, when I say activate, this does not have to be in a very traditional way. This does not take worship. It does not take ceremony. It does not take people doing Herculean tasks. What it takes is a discipline of heart. What do I mean by that? A discipline of heart of intent. The heart needs to be disciplined with an intent to betterment. Now, as we know from quantum field, everything starts to happen when it starts to be observed. Therefore, this frequency, which is ramping up more than mind boggles, the noodle gets going and says, where is this going? Where are we leading to? As this actually happens, what actually happens is we observe. We observe the changes in ourselves. Now, if we do nothing, it takes a long time to get there. However, this discipline that I'm saying, the intent for betterment, acts as observation. It observes this new light because frequency and light are synonymous. It activates this new light. It communes with it. It becomes coherent in life and therefore an extension of life all around. And that is when suddenly miracles happen. And I'm not talking about miracles like a fairy tale. I'm talking about actual miracles happening every day. Because a miracle is something that the day before you did not expect. And what is actually happening is new manifestation, new creation, new intention, new ways of improvement that can happen just like that, or by the blink of the eye. And this is what is really happening with frequency. So if in your words, you are looking around and saying it is all well and good, talking about frequency going up, but I'm not seeing it. I'm still seeing trouble and strife within my world. I'm still seeing that there are difficulties upon the planet. I'm still seeing that there is harm to nature and my loved ones. This is true. However, trust in your heart, knowing what it naturally is able to do, and it can activate this new frequency. But the most important thing, we must desire for things to be better, because that simple little word is encoded with such an element of energy. It is like the spark that lights the flame. For betterment is always progression forward, always something better than the day before, always something good to come. And this cannot come with caveats. Betterment for myself and not for others. Betterment for that country and not that one. Betterment for if people are good or not. It has to be a desire. This is why we see discipline of the heart for betterment for all. See yourself as part of this, yes, universe, but particularly part of this planet. And that everything that happens, you want it to go one way, upwards. Good, good, good. Understand, yes, my dear?
Beautiful answer. Thank you so much, Zach. Now I'd like to sort of move on to talk about the Kuiper Belt objects, which, as you will well know, largely orbit beyond the realms of Pluto. And do these Kuiper Belt objects, some of which are dwarf planets, do they actually represent a new octave of planetary consciousness for us, and in that way are supporting our human evolution, as you would call it?
Absolutely. These have come to light now. Even interesting use of the word light, is it not? These have come to light. Because it is time. It is time that their influence be known. If the influence had been known 100, 200 years ago, it would have been too confusing for people, would not have sat with how their lives are now. However, what humanity is understanding now is a different way is needed. Something needs to happen to break the patterns of the past. We have talked, my dear, and I'm sure you talk about the end of one paradigm into the new, the end of the period of Pisces into the period of Aquarius. We are moving into a time where it is becoming more and more important to be able to break a chain, like someone breaks a habit, and come into a new form of being. And this influence that they are bringing is transcendent beyond the physicality. This means that the influence can happen so much quicker. This means that the influence can be impactful in, as you say, an evolutionary way. Does this make sense to you?
Yes, it does. Yes, it's hugely exciting, Zach, because if we think of archetypes of dwarf planets such as Quawa and Vada, Quawa in particular, the archetype is around elevating your frequency via singing and dancing to bring manifestation into being very rapidly. So it is very much based on a quantum principle of elevate your frequency and the manifestation happens. So are these dwarf planets really, are there archetypes, a kind of new energetic architecture for us, the sort of instructions for a new way for us to be?
Absolutely. Now, when you think of the ones that have been your main ones for a long, long time, these had been, they have vast properties that speak to all different types of humanity syndromes, if you understand my meaning.
Yep.
Now what we are doing is experiencing what you could call the elevated human, to go beyond. So all of these other aspects are still important because you are not changing species overnight. But what you are doing is becoming more luminous, more filled with light. And because of that, different qualities and different abilities are coming to light. And therefore, a new archetype needs to come in. There needs to be a more elevated, a more transcendent one that everybody can still feel affinity to. We are not in the days gone by when it was only the chosen ones, the adepts, those that dedicated their life to spiritual practice or to helping the poor or whatever it may be. This is not for the favored few who have done dedication to service. We are living in a time where every single person upon this planet, therefore billions and billions and billions of people are being influenced. I mean, everybody is influenced by the cosmos the whole time. But now that these are coming into light, quite literally, and are being influenced, it helps. Often we see things as a hindrance. And of course, there are things that make us look before we leap, see what is coming. But these are actually coming in to help our manifestation into a new lighter way of being. How nice would that be? Especially if you are listening to this now and thinking, you know what? I try and I try and I try, but I feel like I've been on the hamster wheel for so long. Well, get ready, my friend, because you're going to be popping off that hamster wheel. Things are going to get better. You know, we are still riding a very, very large, very turbulent, very powerful wave way into springtime. But due to all the events that you mentioned, my dear friend Pamela, and also what is happening at the end of the year, this particular year, is bringing forth, it is like the crashing of the wave and then the smoothing. Yes, things would still be busy, busy, busy. Things would still have a lot of activity, but you'll have freedom. Freedom, fortitude, and focus. This is what I talk about a lot. But you'll have freedom to get off the hamster wheel. The cosmos will be giving you so much power to take for your own, to calm these transcendent beings, to almost live out these archetypes, if you like. But I'm becoming very passionate about this. Why not, my dear friend?
No, it's absolutely, it's so exciting. So are you seeing that, you mentioned the end of the year, are you principally seeing that around the solstice?
It is. However, the universe has been very clever this time. Last year, a lot of emphasis on the solstice. A lot of people at that particular time were very, let us say, distracted with other things going on. And it packed a punch, but it could have been more. You understand?
Yeah.
Now, the universe is still moving in its way. You know, we do not have a massive God sticking his hand out, stopping planets. So everything is moving. Everything is in the trajectory that you are expecting and seeing. However, around that particular time, the universe has been very clever because it is going to be elongating the period. So rather than over a few days or so, the window of opportunity for this vast change is actually going to be open from around the 15th of December all the way through to around the 11th of January. Quite nice, no?
Wonderful.
Lots and lots of time. So even if you are, up and down during that time, lots of opportunity for the influence of the cosmos and the intelligence of the cosmos to support your doings, to do as you would like to, not out of fear, but out of harmony, out of desire, out of good things. Understand? Yes.
Absolutely. And would it be good to meditate more during the period you've just mentioned, Zach?
Some people, meditation is completely compatible. So if you are listening to me now, and when different Babla said meditate, you went, oh yes, do it. If, however, you go on inside, you went, oh no more of that. Do something else that actually will bring you the same benefit. This could be walking in nature. This could be playing with a puppy dog. This could be playing with children, your children, other people's friends, children, whatever it may be. The fact is, what you want to do and what the meditation would be doing is opening your hearts. The biggest, leap in consciousness, the biggest leap in frequency comes when you laugh, my dear. You're in the secrets of the universe away, am I not?
Oh, that's good, because I laugh a lot. So that's very good to hear.
Exactly. So, if you're thinking, oh, but I don't laugh much, but I think I'm doing well, that is all well and good. No problem. It is just simply the action of laughter, of joy. Joy in spontaneity, just because you have seen something outside your window that has made you smile. Joy because you suddenly have a memory of something that warms your heart. Doesn't matter what it is. And so this is why I say during that period, as much as you can, spend some time every single day doing something that activates this feeling within you. If you do not have much time and you're having a real higgledy-piggledy time of it, just put on something for 5 minutes that makes you laugh. Even if it is actually tickling yourself to make yourself laugh. Because the reason is this expansion, the universe can get in, the cosmos, the light can get in. And that is when this coherence that we are talking of starts to really happen, when it starts to really calibrate to your own frequency. So many people think, oh, but I need to be at this frequency or this frequency to attain this. The cosmos is actually not that complicated in terms of how you live your life. It will get in wherever it allows to get in. So even if you are, laying on the floor, face down, having like temper tantrum, like a little child, because you are having a terrible time, it does not matter. Because what actually happens is as soon as you allow that light in, it will take you from where you are at that moment and lift you up. If you are high as a kite, feeling wonderful, feeling expansive, again, it will still take you higher still. It will work to where you are. Cosmos, universe, very, very clever. And you are a part of it. That is why it knows you. And I think I've said to you before, different Babala. Everything that is out there in your cuboid of the universe exists within your heart too. It is not that it is mirroring it. It is that on a quantum level, it exists within. So everything that you think, oh, but the universe is putting out all of these things, and for whatever reason, I am not deserving, I am not worthy, or I cannot attain it. This is all pish posh, because actually your heart is actually there already, having its own, at its deepest, tiniest level, its own connection with the universe. You cannot get away from the light, in other words. Run where you like. Lock yourself in a dark cupboard. It'll still get you. Good, eh?
Well, absolutely wonderful. That's profound, Zach. That's just so wonderful. I love that. I'm going to think deeply about what you've just said. If we look at some of the dwarf planets, for instance, Haumea, that is connected to the Hawaiian goddess of fertility, and she has a deep shamanic connection to the land in her archetype. And she's got an ability to tap into the life force of nature. and she's able to magically regenerate land that's been laid waste through exploitation or chemicals or bad practice and produce food. So 2 questions here really. Does that indicate that there will be a very rapid restoration of nature? And secondly, is she also suggesting how we will evolve on New Earth as having a much deeper instinctive connection to the earth in the way that Homer's archetype suggests?
So for some time, I have been laying the seeds myself that everything that you see, yes, use it. If you have any ways at all, whether it be just in your own personal life or in your work, to help the earth, to prevent a lot of what is happening to it and to help it come out the other side. But the seeds I've also been sowing is that just because right at this moment, the solutions are not known of how a full regeneration can happen, does not mean to say they are not there. These particular aspects that you are talking about are part of what's bringing it to light. It is part of the influence. You know, I said it gets in wherever, to those who have got the knowledge already, so that as the psyche takes on the influence, it can actually be able to work in harmony with the knowledge so that new ideas come. Now, the most important thing, and without going off on a different track because it is a whole different conversation, is that the inventions that happen are ones that actually profit the earth, not profit the people. This is where all of the inventions have gone wrong. Well, not all of them, some of them are good, but a lot of them, because ultimately people come up with good designs, good thoughts, good thinking, all sorts of different ways for the soil, for the water, for the air, everything, to help this mighty, 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 wonderful earth. And then, before they can be put into practice, profit is looked at in terms of human idea of profit. Now, the profit that we are going into, and already all of you that are listening, my friends, what you have experienced the last year to 2 years has shown you, I know in all of your hearts, that a thought of profit is changing. It is not about achieving in terms of wealth and other such things, even though for some people it will be in their individual, so contract, and that is what they want to do. But overall, as a collective, the wealth comes with harmony. Harmony is wealth. So harmony with the land, harmony within the body means good health. And so we need to do the same thing. So therefore, these new thoughts, inventions, as long as it is looked at where the top note, you could say, is about the harmony that is going to bring the profit, the wealth that is going to bring for the planet, not for a physical wealth, then this is when things will really get going. But I do believe also that the inventions that are coming from nature directly. Things that the people are discovering about nature that they can apply with their other knowledge to grow into a situation which can be predominantly helping all over the planet. And this is why you are seeing it so much, because not only, you've heard for so long, the time is now, we cannot wait any longer. This is very true on a human point of view, but from a universe's point of view, the universe looks very dark and stark and cold. Looking through a microscope, a telescope, one way around, we look through a microscope, you look through a telescope to see the cosmos. When you look at it, but it actually isn't. There is a mighty intelligence that looks after everything. The way that you can predict, different Bamla, years and years in advance, trajectory, means that there is discipline in the universe. The universe knows how to look after itself whilst it expands, whilst it grows, whilst it changes. And it does not just say, well, that thing over there is rogue, it is going to combust. And so therefore the earth is being held by the universe. These could sound like quite airy-fairy ideas to a lot of people, and that is absolutely fine. But the fact is, the nature is constantly being affected. You can see it even just in the weather, by the sun, the moon, and whatever, but it is constantly being affected by further and further and further reaching parts of your cosmos as the starlight is entering it more. So yes, exactly as you were saying, you are reading this correctly, that this presence that you are seeing is indicating not only that this is coming, but it is to be acted upon, and that people are being influenced on it, and that there will be birthing of these new ways of being, not in the traditional ways. Understand? Yes?
Yes, absolutely. Just such rich answers, Zach. I'm so, so grateful. I think this will help many people. And also to ask that some of these dwarf planets and Kuiper Belt objects, such as Kwawa and Algira and Teheran and Hiawatha, they are creator deities. They're creator gods, indigenous, of indigenous origin in the archetype. So what can you tell us about the indigenous creator gods that seems to be so important as we move forwards into New Earth? What is the relevance for New Earth? Because it seems to be a combination of leading edge quantum physics in terms of manifestation, but there's an ancientness that's coming in here. Am I being clear in my question?
Absolutely. Now, the ancients, the ancestors, the indigenous, they had wisdom way beyond what people have now. And this is not to put down what people have now, but it has been factored and shifted and changed to do with history, to do with culture, to do with art, to do with everything. Nothing wrong with that. It is what it is. However, the original ancestors felt the heartbeat of the land. They felt the heartbeat of the whole universe. They understood when change was coming, and rather than fight change, they walked quietly towards it. They not only anticipated it, but they looked to the heavens, they read to see what can we do to make that change the best it can be. What part do we play in the universe? And so much of what is coming from the ancestors, what you are feeling there, and the importance of the indigenous communities and cultures of the time is to talk to our hearts now, to say, yes, you are modern, man, woman, child, but you also are your ancestors. You are your ancestors all the way back to before humanity, when you were nothing more than starlight. And in so doing, there is just as much importance in an ending as there is in a beginning. Everything is equal: beginning, middle, and end. At the moment, many of you in your lifetimes have only known the middle. And this is understandable. So you fight the idea of an end of something. And you cannot imagine the beginning of something, because your own beginnings were before your conscious memories. Now, that does not mean to say that they are not even more beautiful than what comes in the middle. So therefore, much of the influence that is coming is encouraging people in their hearts to do as the ancestors did, to walk towards the ending. Now, when I say ending, you may be putting two and two together, making 75, thinking I'm talking about death. I'm not. What I am saying is it is an ending of how things have been for a very long time. This could be in different aspects of your life. This could be in the collective experience of what is going on in the world, what is going on in governments, in organizations. This could be to do with how we have affected agriculture, fishing, all sorts of things. But this could be personal and internal as well. This could be the ending in relation to how we perceive ourselves. This could be an ending to thinking of ourselves as alone in the world and disconnected from everyone. This could be the ending of a job or relationship. But it is about having the power within us that the indigenous had, because they were connected to the earth, allowed the earth to supply you. Or if, and that could be earth. This could be outside in nature, or you may be one who has an affinity far more with the water or the air, or even the fire. Go to an element that feels home for you. Use that just in an intoxicating way of just connecting. People might call it meditating. I would say just sit with it. Something you like. If you like a fire, build a fire. Enjoy the fire. and use that to encourage you to have the bravery to be able to walk into the future knowing that an end is coming. In the big picture, different Pamela, we have talked about the ending of Pisces, moving on to Aquarius. We have talked about many, many different endings. And you are talking, I know, with your tribe and everybody else about how the old paradigm needs to collapse and fall away for the new. But this does not have to be scary, and it does not have to happen in one instant. This is not about putting a stick of dynamite somewhere and blowing something up and expecting the new to suddenly appear. What is so beautiful, and this is what the indigenous knew, as you walk towards it just with your intent of allowing it to happen, the new is formulating already, so that when you get to the point of ending, the new is already waiting for you. You understand? Yes, my dear?
Yeah, beautiful. And it reminds me very much of the big dreaming and the Aboriginal song lines, that the people would walk the Aboriginal song lines with clear intent and vision and frequency to manifest what they wanted as their reality. I've got real echoes of that.
Absolutely. And as you know, in every single culture, the indigenous are rising. What I mean by that is people are searching out their wisdom because they know in their hearts always know what they need to do. And it's quite a simple path, but it is not necessarily easy. Simple and easy, two different words. Because we are teaching ourselves to live in a different way than we have been educated to do in your modern world. Understand, yes?
Yes, absolutely, Zach. Thank you. And so does that mean that the indigenous peoples of the world will gain much more respect in the future in New Earth?
We expect they will. But as nothing stays the same, it is about more of a joining forces. It is having mutual respect. It is having mutual respect for the modern world and how things are with the indigenous, to actually look to them for certain wisdom, just as they look to the modern world for certain other types of wisdom. It is all about equality, equilibrium, and harmony. I say these words a lot, I know, but this is the future. If this future represents in this way, it will be a paradise on earth. Understand this?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And Zach, maybe you could help us with how these Kuiper Belt objects, these dwarf planets, will help us to become galactic citizens in a bigger way.
They exist in dimensions that are, let me say, lighter than those that are closer to your home planet. So if we just say in this particular incarnation that Earth is your home planet, you are very much going to be influenced by all that goes on in the cosmos that is closest to you, relatively speaking, of course. When you get further and further away, it is not just about distance, but we start having a morphing between dimensions. So this that you are connecting with is not just in the dimensions, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dimensions. We are looking more into the higher dimensions as well. Therefore, their influence allows each person as well to connect to higher dimensions. Now, you are always connecting with far higher dimensions than you would know. It is just that it would be too confusing for most people to be aware of what else they are connecting with. And so you could say there has been a veil. People talk about the veil in many different ways, but there has been a shifting of focus away from it. Now that you start to be influenced, this can be lifted. This can be more present. So you can still remain exactly as you are, but have this more awareness, this greater anticipation, because much of what we could call the rest of the galactic civilizations mainly exist in slightly different dimensions from your own. This is one of the reasons why NASA and all the others can say they're not looking, but they are looking for all life all over. But they are looking for physical life in a 3D world like you are living. But this is not the case. And this is why so many galactics who are very present, who are living lives just like you are living, but it is in a slightly different dimension. However, they have the technology or the knowledge or whatever it may be to be able to communicate. Now, some have been very, very quiet for a long time, but now that it is being a lot more open-hearted towards this, a lot more appreciative and inviting of this, there are many, not just through journals, but others where this can become manifest. And of course, as your own dimension rises, that you would then become aware. And then we are moving beyond this idea of a cuboid of the universe as you would know it from a picture in a book that is taken by a telescope, but into beyond the other dimensions that exist within. And then you will suddenly see space is not empty at all, my friend. Understand, yes?
Yes, absolutely. And so with regard to that, Zach, obviously we're going to be, with that raising in frequency and moving to higher dimensions, linear time will dissolve, as it were. It won't be so present. So as an astrologer, we are so precise and exact on getting the exact birth time, as you know, and you've spoken in the past yourself about the precision of the incarnation of each soul, how specific that is. And so how will astrology work if linear time is no longer so present? How will astrologers operate with birth charts?
Okay, so to be clear, a level of linear time while the experience of the earth continues will always be present. Okay, linear time starts within a universe with physicality and mass. So it is the mass that is actually influential on the speed that time moves at. You understand? Yeah. So the particular cuboid of the universe that you are in has a similarity of mass, and therefore it has what you could call a linear clock that can be worked with, that can be worked with the cosmos and all of these things. Now, the further we would be moving into awareness of these other dimensions, we will still be able to have a presence. The physicality presence needs to still have a linear aspect. Otherwise, the cellular activity would be all over the place. We don't know what is actually happening. Because the earth as a whole and the way nature moves needs, again, what I was talking about with the indigenous, the start, the middle, and the end. And you can only have this where linear time exists. Other experiences exist outside of that frame of time and where time moves a lot more slowly. So what you are far more likely to experience is the dominant force, or the focus can be exactly as it is now in the same linear style calendar, the same amount of hours in the day and all of these types of things. However, the other aspects within the dimensions start to loosen, and then we'll see the influence from these other dimensional qualities. So indeed, my dear, you do not need to learn a new skill.
Good.
You'll still be operating in exactly the same way. And indeed, could you imagine if you were evolving so much, then you look back and your entire body just disappeared? You'd be like, oh, blow it. What did I go and do that for? No, that is what a death and reincarnation is all for. This is when we have had enough of one existence, or for whatever reason, one existence comes to an end, and we rejoin. For the simplest way of putting it, with the rest of our divinity, the rest of our soul, with the rest of our cosmos, and then we start again. But whilst we are still incarnated, and this is what is so beautiful and so exceptional about the time you are living in now, we have never seen it. And this is why we bring back to what you said right in the beginning. It is about the frequency on Earth. It is about the light photons. It is about the changes that are happening that are enabling an evolution to take place where there is great potential to be able to move within your individuality between your dimensions, and therefore become more galactic citizens, but still be able to live the life that you desire and want and create for yourself. It is a bit like having your cake and eating it, is it not, my dear? But that
it sounds so exciting and so wonderful, Zach. So are you saying, therefore, Zach, that this evolution, your wonderful word, this evolution of humanity has never happened to such a degree before.
No. What has happened in the past and with the different civilizations, you could say it was in a sphere. It was worked in a certain way, but the entirety of the universe had not gone to a frequency that it could sustain it long term. It was like an anomaly. We often do not like the words that human use of experiment because that sounds very cold and harsh. But it is a way of seeing potential without expecting that potential to last into the future. However, this is the biggest thing that has ever happened to the earth since humanity came to be part of it. And therefore, we are looking at nature. You are all part of nature, but you are nature is incredibly intelligent. But what we see with humanity is what we can work out is how everyone's minds is working, how everybody is associating with it, how everyone is moving through it, who is pressing against it and who is going with it. This is why there are so many lives of potential, and why it is so important that you create what you want for the future and do not wait for somebody or something to come on, like, a nice spaceship or somebody just coming around the corner and saying to you, I will solve everything for you. Because actually it is happening from within. It is happening from the heart. You are creating your futures and we are pushing you and cheering you on, but you are the ones that are doing it. You understand? Yes. Isn't it marvelous? Isn't it marvelous?
Yes, it's wonderful, but it sounds like that evolution is unstoppable because of the change in the cosmology.
Absolutely. And this is the thing, the more it happens, there is no pinnacle that we say, okay, stop now. We are more saying, wow, look where they're going, look where they're going, look where they're going. Because every time more and more and more will be unveiled. So much has been unveiled to your world in the last 50 years, but particularly in the last 5 to 10 years. No wonder your minds are blown. No wonder people are at burnout. No wonder people are saying, I do not know what's going on anymore, what to believe or not to believe. But I just say, keep with your heart. When you feel like that, just turn everything off and just stay with your heart, because you will come out the other side. This is like the push. This is like a rocket that goes off. The astronauts are not expecting to be working and doing things while it is taking off, because they're going to be under such tremendous G-force. And this is what is happening at the moment. This is the equivalent. You are being push. Yes, life has to happen around. But if you are not seeing it around you exactly as you expect it to be, just wait a little while, because it is coming. And this is where the influence. And as you say, hey, with the Kuiper Belt and other, by coming to light, it is to help. It is to help earthlings, humanity, nature, the whole of the beautiful earth that there is, and the whole cuboid of the universe, to attain that which they are reaching for. Understand? Yes?
Yes. Wow, Zach, that's just so exciting. So will this ascension continue long term, or is this just a particular window in the Earth's experience, or will it keep going?
There is no cap. However, I think everybody would exhaust it if it just went on and on and on and on and on. What we are expecting is some plateaus, but the plateaus being good plateaus. What we are expecting are periods of time. Some people call it the golden age. This is one way of putting it. I would say it gets to the point where everybody starts to be so much more aware of the importance of the harmony, of the working together, or the influence of themselves. And then we expect to see far more of a peaceful time of no push by the universe, but the universe supporting this, before comes a time, and it actually comes from people's hearts. It comes from people's hearts that something deep inside says there is more. And then we go up a notch again and again and so forth. But this plateau that we are speaking of, this power that people have, this will be at a time when people really understand their influence in the world. There's nothing more dangerous than a person who doesn't actually think that they influence anything. They think that they are, what's the terminology, playing small. They think, oh, well, it's only little old me. Actually, little old you is just as important as every single other person on this planet, because your heart, not only the electromagnetic field, but it is in correspondence with the universe. You are communicating through your heart constantly with the universe. So when you actually sense, I am part of the universe and I will do what is my heart's desire and what I want to do, but I am also aware that my influence is important, and how I react in this universe, that is something very special. When, however, we think that we do not influence anything, we are, like a bowling ball that goes down and knocks everything out of the way. We do not intend for that to happen, but it happens. So this plateau that we expect, what we expected, people being far more mindful, far more emotionally mindful, and far more energetically and physically mindful of the fact that they have the power for themselves, that they are influenced by the universe and they influence the universe, and that it is so important for them to be in harmony with what they eat, what they drink, with the people around. And before people think, well, that sounds very boring. We are not, this is not the same as purity. This is not the same as abstaining from things that you want to do. It is simply knowing yourself. It is simply living your life exactly as you want to, but actually knowing that you are important in the world. Whoever you are, whatever you do, you are important just by your essence being here at this time, being part of this brilliant, bright, loving, light universe. Off my soapbox. Talk a lot.
Wow. So Zach, it sounds like the increase in our what we'd consider superhuman abilities is going to come in very rapidly.
Yes, I believe so. I believe so. When I look at people's energy system, it is completely different from not so long ago. And when I say different, I'm not talking about people becoming silicon, crystal, all of these things. This is something different. What I'm saying is what it does, it is accommodating so much more light, as we said, the coherence of light, which means it can commune with the rest of the universe, the rest of themselves, the rest of their soul. Things that felt so far away is right there, up close and personal, as they say, to them. And because of this, as they awaken to their new abilities, as they start to manifest, I hear Hazel, using the analogy of popcorn popping. It is the same. It only takes one to go. And once you start seeing other people do things, you can do it too. It is a real fact of human nature. And it doesn't matter if it is something that you are observing yourself or you're energetically heart is observing from something that is happening the other side of the world. It then becomes possible. So yes, I agree with you, my dear.
Wonderful. And what other practical advice, Zach, can you give us about living from the heart? Do we have to be conscious, as I try to be in my days, and many people do, that we are living from love towards all living beings? Is that a big part of it too?
Know yourself. Okay, she says this as Janet. She says know yourself, but I mean it in a different way. What I mean is value yourself. When you actually learn to value yourself, you are then far more aware of what you let in to your awareness, to your energy system. By valuing yourself, you start naturally to be far more in a frequency of love. To me, the frequency of love is synonymous with freedom and with grace. And what this actually means is by being in that place where you are aware and you value yourself, you expose yourself to only the things, or for the most part, we understand life's responsibilities, work, different things. It is not always the case to say, I will not do this. But when you value yourself, you limit that which you know is not that beneficial to you, and you expand in places, things that do, things that make you laugh, things that make your heart sing. Sound is so important at this time. Everything is happening very quickly, and the frequencies like sound, like color, like emotion, cuts through really, really quickly. Maybe you say, how do I become so sensitive recently? I could be in a board meeting and people could say all these things, it washes over me. Now someone says something a little bit nasty to me and I feel it all day long. It is because you have expanded to such a state of being as well, where you are informing, communing with the world around you. So if you value yourself, this is the very first step. I do not want to give everybody very, very high level, difficult things to do. Just take on board that, because just by valuing yourself, you start to be, and notice the word there, you start to be love in its own right. You start to radiate love, and that will attract to you not just people, but situations and opportunities that sit in the frequency that you desire to sit in. There is a lot of trouble and strife in the world. I am not here to say, oh, everything is hunky-dory. Do not worry, because this is natural. You are living in a world of turmoil that is going through a vast change from one paradigm to another. Just as I said, like the indigenous communities, you are walking the path of the end of one way to bring in the new. But if you value yourself, and you do this, and you do this about this coherence of the light, you allow yourself to calibrate light, and you desire for betterment for all. You see yourself as part of the whole. You desire for everything to be better. Then, my friend, you will be living in your own paradise anyway. Understand this?
Yes, wonderful. Gosh, this is so inspiring, Zach. It really is. And I hardly dare ask this, but is it already true that for some people, there is no limit on their frequency? There seems to be a kind of infinity aspect that's coming in. So I can't get a measure on my chart for some people.
So some people, there will be this infinity aspect. And what that means is every single parameter within the dimensions that have been veiled before are now open. Now that person, you could look at them and think, but that's not how they're living their life. As we say, to activate it, they need to observe it. They need to know it. So they will come to that in their own time. So some people, you could think of a person who you think is incredibly accelerated, living in all the ways that I've said, and you'll see it off the scale and you go, oh yes, I understand. Then there could be another person, you think there's something I am not seeing here, because that is not how they live their life at all, and yet they're off the scale, because frequency is not connected in this way to what we see from the outside. This is actually happened for them. As I say, once they actually make that switch and they observe, then they can really accelerate and benefit from the shift in frequency. Does this make sense to you, my dear?
Yeah, wonderful. So Zach, are you saying therefore that the shift has happened for them at a higher level of being, and they haven't yet fully integrated into the 3D physical? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. And you may remember, I know those that are listening may not have heard this, but I was saying last year, and coming in with the light, and the light that we spoke of so much, and you yourself have spoken of, that this will happen to everybody, whether they are aware of it or not. And this is what you are seeing. So on a mental level, they may not be aware of it, but the energy has expanded to that. They may be seeing benefits of this, they may not as yet, because they haven't observed and awakened. But everybody, these are like the popping popcorn. And as you know, frequencies of those who are helping at this time, I will call myself a simple soul for now, because too convoluted to explain my history. But I know, my dear friend, you have doused for the frequency of Zachariah, have you not?
I haven't doubts for Zachariah. I haven't yet, but I will do.
I thought you had. Well, my dear, you will need a different chart.
I'm sure.
Now, that is not to say, and the reason why I mention this is simply to say, I'm using this word I so that you can understand in your physical world. need to have that frequency so that I can channel through her. I can channel through others, so I can go anywhere that I like in the universe. It is like having a magic doorway into anywhere you want to go. Good, eh?
Amazing.
And that is what we're all getting. It is just, you can have a doorway. If you do not know how to open a door, it will always stay shut for you. And this is what the observation part is doing. So yes, you will see it. Do not be despondent if you think, well, this person, they've got the frequency, but they're not doing anything with it. Everything happens in all good time. If everybody popped at once, we would be overrun with popcorn, would we not? People are learning at different speeds. Understand, yes?
Yes, absolutely. And is there anything else that you've given us such a rich channeling today? Is there anything else that you'd like to share about the influence of the Kuiper Belt objects that can help us elevate our consciousness further?
Okay, I'm going to give you a little tip. Little secret. You know what I'm like. I get off the 26th dimension and I give everybody the secrets away. So whether you are au fait with all of the astrology or not, talking to all these people that are listening now, whether you understand all the concepts on a mental level or not, if within your heart you say to yourself, I desire to be influenced by these that are further out in the cosmos, whether you remember the name or not, if you put in your heart that you desire, they will reach out to you, because this is the transcendent nature of them. They go way, way, way beyond the dimensions of the physical, and the universe is constantly communicating to each other. Therefore, you will be on the cusp. You know, it'd be like getting your ticket, you know, first on board of the ship, that you can be influenced. These influences that are coming, they're quite different from, I do not want to use the term traditional astrology, because this topic is so incredibly vast. But often with astrology, people think, oh my goodness, I need to know what's coming so I can prepare. No bad thing. What these further out are doing is, what is coming is to help, to support, to bring you life, to bring you experiences, to bring you inventory, to bring you invention, to bring you creation. So there is no harm ever to ask in your heart to be influenced by them more, to be ready to be influenced by them, because this is the new wave that is coming straight after the turbulence, straight after the crushing down. Remember I said in the background, when anything that starts to fall away, that actually if you go in with an open heart, the new is already there waiting for you. This is what it's doing. It is creating the new, even when you cannot see it. It is there. And if in your heart you align with that, that you simply say, yes, I am open to be influenced by it, I'm ready, it will take you there further. Good, no?
Oh, just amazing. I mean, I knew this was going to be a way out discussion in various respects, but I think it's even exceeded my expectations. So this has been absolutely spectacular and brilliant and inspiring and so positive. And we are so grateful, Zach, for your wisdom. So always we're grateful for your wisdom, but I think particularly because the times are very turbulent for many people, this is especially precious for the people listening at this time. It really is. And I, just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I know Hazel will feel the same, and the people listening will feel the same too. So you are such a gift for us, such a gift.
Pleasure. It is not exactly work that I'm doing. I do not need to rest. I do not need to sleep like the rest of you do. But I would say, my dear friend Pamela, we know your history. We know what it is taken through lifetimes to get to this point. So everybody listening, listen to this lady. She knows what she is talking about. She is switched on. And actually, when we look at everything, even in the most turbulent of times, with a heart that simply says, I know there is better around the corner, then that is what comes. And we are there right by your sides. We could not be prouder of everybody living at this time, whatever their foibles, whatever they're going through, because they are living it, and you cannot have an evolution without people to evolate. Aha! You understand? Yes?
Yes.
Good.
Yes. Yes. Wonderful, Zach. That has been so clear, so positive, so practical, and we are deeply, deeply grateful from our hearts. Thank you so much.
And also a huge thank you to you, Pam. The questions that you have given have just inspired such incredible answers that I, for one, feel so inspired by, so activated by, really, just to look forward even more towards the future that we're co-creating together. Thank you for your questions, and Zach, of course, thank you as always for your answers. We are so delighted that you could both be together today. Thank you.
I loved it. I really loved it. It was great fun, and you know, I just had things popping, fuses popping as we were going through that. So I really loved it. I'm incredibly grateful that you asked me to come and speak with Zach, and I love those opportunities when they happen. So yeah, wow, what an afternoon! Really wonderful.
You two are just so wonderful together. Thank you for coming and being here with Zach. It's just amazing.
Absolutely.
Shall I call her back now, my dears? She is sitting in her meadow waiting patiently. Shall I call her back?
Call Janet back so that we can say thank you to her as well. Thank you, Zach.
Blessings, blessings, blessings. Goodbye, my dears. Goodbyes. Until next time, goodbyes.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Zach.
Oh, was that a crash landing?
Very bright.
There. Thank you, Janet. As always, thank you so much for letting us have access to Zach in that way.
Sorry, just I'm used to being back in my body.
He was really brilliant, Janet. Thank you so much. He was really rocking it out there in the cosmos. He really was. So grateful for everybody. You know, everybody listening will be grateful to hear that. I will re-listen to that many times because I found it so inspiring.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. Thank you all, and a farewell from Janet and I, and thank you once more to our beautiful friend Pam.
It's been a joy. Really wonderful. Thank you, Hazel. Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Zach. And thanks to everyone who's taken the time to listen as well. Hope it's helped you.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.